Okay. All right. So we are recording SIYP Podcast Uncensored. Hello, everybody. Hi, Hazel. How are you?
Hello,
Mhm.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I remember you were telling, like, because we have a WhatsApp group, you mentioned that it's hot and you have to turn on the AC. I'm curious, what
Yeah.
do you mean by hot in Toronto?
So it's been humid hot. So it was like 35 with the humidity. So yeah, that for me that's too hot inside the house. So yeah, it's hard to sleep when it's like 35.
That's worse than what it is here. Like, I think right now it's 26,
Hmm.
but it feels like. Uh, It feels like 26. Okay, yeah, but it feels like 26, but the humidity is just annoying. So it's like it feels really sweaty and
Yeah.
hot. But
Hmm.
okay, yeah, so then that does make sense because I was like, oh, it's not that bad in Toronto, but if it's like 35, yeah, that's worse than it is here. And we are dying at 26 degrees weather, so I feel you. David is not on the call yet, but maybe he will join us later. In the meantime, I was thinking, could I start with my week first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I had an interesting week this week. And again, it was more uh, around finances and work. And let's see, like again, I think it's always the three majors, like work, finances, and family. However, with finances, what showed up is we're on an electricity plan, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. But we're on this electricity plan that you pay a constant bill every month, okay, and then at the end of the year, you get like the actual bill. And if our estimates are more than the final bill, we get a credit that rolls over for the next month of the new year. If there is more, we pay the difference. And since we moved from the previous house to this house, that bill came out. And like so why it's a good thing is like every month for 12 months, we just have this consistent bill. So that's a good thing. But why it's not a good thing is because if it is more, or you're not really able to gauge your usage unless we go and check the meter and check the number and everything, which we can do. But I'm lazy. I'm not saying my fiance is lazy as well, but I'm lazy, so I don't do it. I'll speak on my behalf. It just we don't really go and check the meter. No, who does that? Not many people do. So when this bill came out, like usually we pay about 50 or 60 euro a month. So, and then, both of us get about 1,000 euro a month. So to see an electricity bill of 460 euro, that was from the previous house because, it was the final bill when we moved here. We were just like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. And what happened was, oh, that's a big mosquito. Oh, wait, I think I got it. Did I get it? Oh, I got it. For the people watching this stream, I got the mosquito. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's one of those tiger mosquitoes, the one that bites you and then like you get
Tiger.
swollen. Anyway, so
Oh.
it's called the tiger mosquito in Athens. Anyway, so back to the electricity story. So when this thing came out, it was a moment where my fiance panicked because she was like, "Oh, it's on my name, and I don't want to owe this company so like have a debt with them." And we were supposed to look at an installment plan to pay it off like in installments because we didn't have just 400 euro ready available to go. And this was when there was like 10 minutes left to the end of my shift. I was still working and I had 10 minutes left. So I just tell Rebecca, I'm like, baby, look, like we can call them tomorrow and figure this out and everything will be good. In those 10 minutes that I finish work, Rebecca's like, oh, I paid for it. So you don't have to worry about your share. You can pay your share later. But I paid for it and don't worry about it. Now, this triggered me. It actually really overwhelmed me because I I already had a plan as partners that we would work on it together and we'd come up with a plan together and then we'd do something together. What triggered me was the fact that fear and, resistance and everything showed up. But then it was like, I did this and it is what is best for you. That's what showed up for me. Like, you took this upon yourself thinking it was what's good for me when I thought we would do this together. And, there was this whole war that happened because from the fear and the resistance, what ended up happening was it was misunderstood that I'm not grateful. And it was misunderstood like I don't value her. And I was just in my defensive and stubbornness. I was like, no, but you're not understanding. You didn't like talk to me about it. And she's like, why? Like I'm just trying to help you and blah blah blah. And so we went back and forth about this because I mean, thinking about it, I never really said I was not grateful that she did this, and then I just have to pay her back. The only thing that I just didn't feel heard was like, I don't care that you paid it or whatever. I just care that we were supposed to do this together and you acted without me. So I felt like, I'm not a part of this. And, I think the whole house heard us in that argument. And this was like the day before she traveled because Hungary, like Rebecca's in Hungary right now. She went to go see her family. And, more things showed up. There was more like, oh, well, I just wanted the last day before I travel forever, which is like 4 days. But, like the travel forever was like, no, I just wanted it to be cute enough for us to have a fight. And all of that escalated. So, again, that was governed by finances. But after 2 hours of almost killing each other, we were able to uh, address the fear, address the misunderstanding, go into forgiveness, go into gratitude, where I think we both realized better versions of ourselves that we could become and then became. Because if we didn't have these awarenesses, it wouldn't be a fight for 2 hours. It would probably be way worse. Like there were jokes and remarks said that, okay, we have the guest room. So someone's going to sleep in the guest room or someone's going to sleep in the living room. Like there were things like that. But thinking about it now, it's something I can look back at and laugh about. But while it was real, it was real. It was real. Like thoughts in our head were like, what if everything we've built in our life, in our engagement, all of these fears were so real in that moment. And then as soon as we just transitioned our energy into, okay, let's slow down, let's play back what happened and listen and hear each other. Then we went into gratitude. Then we went into like the detachment, giving up the resistance, which was really beautiful. So that was the beginning of the week because, it was a large amount of money and we did something really beautiful. We didn't really put into effect that we did something wrong by accusing each other. We didn't blame each other, but we just looked at, okay, if this shows up, now we know what we can do instead of fueling a fire of blame and accusations and hurt and all of that towards, okay, let's like this has happened before. What did we do last time? Okay, let's slow down, let's go back. So it was 2 hours, but every time these things happen, it reduces the time. So that was great. Let's see what else. When it came to work, work has been going good. Like schedule wise with work, it's been going great. So like I'm also able to do other things on the side with our new business. So with that, we had like I did three different tours: Wednesday, Thursday, and yesterday. So that was really nice. Met a lot of people and showed them around. What was interesting is it's the same route. So to do it like back to back to back was kind of interesting. And then that's another thing I'm grateful for my fiance about is she did the tour twice in the day once for two different people. And yes, it's a good chunk of money for 3 hours, but when you look at it, it's like walking around because it's a food tour. You're walking around, and explaining and talking and sharing can be overwhelming in itself too. So that was nice. I was able to put aside all the concerns and judgment I was giving it. I was like, is it really worth doing all of this for this little bit of money? Blah, blah, blah. But then I was so grateful for the opportunity. And it's great because, like, it's another source of income where I can then look after the family, provide for the dogs and all of that. So it was great. Again, it just shows the roller coaster of like work and all of that. And I think the last thing was family. So remember, I think I shared with all of you last week that my sister's birthday was coming up because I think it was David's birthday, right? And yeah,
I can't remember. I can't
I
remember
think it
his
was
birthday.
I think it was Sunday, but I think it was Gemini. Anyway, so yeah, Sophie's birthday was on Monday, but then she was having a party on Thursday. And I really wanted to go, like, it was on the 11th, and I had time. I was not working. I didn't have the food tour. But then I'll be honest, and I hope she's not listening to the podcast. But if she does, okay, like it's in the podcast. Um, there was a part of me that had a lot of internal judgment during the week. A lot of internal judgment, like, what am I going to do? Because I know there's a bit of a conflict between her partner and me, and her partner and our family, and all of that. But it's really beautiful and adorable that Sophie invited me there for her birthday. That was really cute. And I was like, family always comes first. And I still love her as a family, but I'm going to take like a step back as a family member. So there were things in my head that was like, okay, what's going to happen when I go? So a part of me would be like, okay, I'm just going to show up drunk. If I show up drunk, it's fine. I'm not going to be conscious to all of this. And then I just sing her happy birthday, have some cake, and go home. So I'm there for my sister for her birthday, and I'm not making it about me, and I'm not going to take it away from her. So that was there. And then, the food tour came up because Rebecca's out of town and the food tour came up. So it was interesting because then the food tour showed up, and I'm like, okay, that's our business. That's our other source of income. Everything is great. But now I'm going to let my family down. So I had this fear again that, okay, at least now I don't have to worry about the partner, but now I have to worry about my blood, my sister. So I just sent her a message and I reduced the volume of the judgment in my head and making myself wrong and all of that. And I was like, let me just write Sophie. So I wrote Sophie and I was like, look, I would really love to be there, but this came up and Rebecca's out of town, so she wouldn't even be there. How about we make it up for you when we're back? And she loved it. And it was great. I want to maybe assume that she felt a little sad, but yeah, there's no point in even assuming that. But she understood that it doesn't work. And that's it. All the power that I went into, oh my God, I'm letting my family down, or I'm not a good person, or blah, 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 disappeared. So that was nice with family. And I think it was the best version of myself. Yeah, that was my week.
I think you're too hard on yourself. You
Yeah,
can't be everywhere at all the time. So,
no, like, I mean, I want to structure myself and schedule myself, right? But
mhm.
then, like, what I would do in the past is, if it was like family or whatever, I would just be like, okay, family will understand, and this is more important. But now, like, I still want to put family first. And I think where I found an accountable balance with all parties is I was in communication. So, like, if I was in communication and Sophie would just tell me, like, honestly, that she expected me to be there, they come first. I would figure out a way to figure it out with the tour because family comes first. But I think what was really great is because I had that conversation and it was okay, everything worked.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I'm still
Oh,
very hard on myself. Like I don't know, it's just it's something I'm working on, but yeah, it's
hmm.
accountability. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was my week. I'm complete.
My week. So I spent the week working from home because I was still recovering from being in the hospital,
Mhm.
and so it was really peaceful because I was working from home and nobody else was around, right? But I was really grateful that my work allowed me to do that because I can imagine some places would not allow you to do that. So yeah, and I actually got caught up on my work pretty quickly because I find that when I'm working from home, I get more done because I have fewer interruptions. Yeah, so work was really it was good to be back at work, even though I was working from home because I was actually bored when I was taking time resting. I mean, there's only so much TV you can watch, and only so many books you can read, and stuff you can do. And when you're not supposed to be doing anything
Mhm.
except resting, so I
Yeah.
was actually pretty bored, and so being able to work from home for the week was really nice because my mind was, working, but my body was still physically resting because I was sitting in a chair. What else came up? Yeah, so that was gratitude. Um, I didn't have any fears or resistance or no judgments came up. Um, Actually, I can't think of anything else. It was just
What?
a quiet week, catching up on work and working from home. Yeah.
Wait, so you said there were less interruptions. Interruptions or distractions? Or are they the
Uh,
same?
well, there's more distractions at home because my cat is always wandering around and asking
Mhm.
for attention.
Mhm.
But
But it didn't
interruptions,
interrupt. Yeah. It didn't
yeah,
interrupt you. Okay.
yeah, because I would still get up every once in a while, anyways, just to stretch my legs.
Hmm.
So usually that was when, if my cat was around asking for attention, then I'd get up, stretch my legs, pay attention to the cat, and feed the cat or whatever needs to be done, and then I'd go back to work. So the days really flowed smoothly,
Hmm.
and it actually felt like the week went by quickly. You know, so it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I relate to that too. I mean, like when Rebecca left on Wednesday, she left in the morning. And I was like, oh God, she's coming back on Monday, and that's gonna be like so far away. Like, don't get me wrong, like we miss each other and everything. We talk every day. But it's
Hmm.
like it's already Sunday evening
Hmm.
and she's back early Monday morning. So it's like less than 48 hours she's back home. But that was a lot. And she went to Hungary to get like, papers for us to get married here and everything. So that's like really cool.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but like, with all of this, I think there's also, you remember what I was telling you before we started the call? I was like, I did Wednesday evening, Thursday evening, yesterday evening was shooting and then for the movie and then was working this morning just before this call.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because like even though I've done so much work, not not attaching to anything and being grateful. I get what you mean. I can relate to that because like it makes it go by quicker.
Hmm.
I think the more we sit on something and we like judge or resist or uh, attach, we make it we prolong it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I will say, like when you were talking about the argument you and Rebecca had, Dwayne and I have had that argument before. It was the opposite because he was the one who felt like he needed to pay for everything, and I always felt like, well, I make money too. I can contribute, and I want to contribute. And I don't know if it's like like a macho thing where the guy has to pay,
It's not
kind of like
necessarily a macho, like I'm not macho, but I think it's a man thing. Yeah.
okay, a man thing. A man thing where the guy has to pay, be the provider and all that stuff.
Mm.
I'm not sure if that was what made him feel like he had to pay. But these days he's better at letting me contribute. And if he won't, like if he, for example, if he pays for something like the cat food, right? Because he's usually the one who goes out and buys the cat food. If he pays for the cat food and he won't let me contribute, then I get him a little treat, you know, like something I know that he likes. And he always accepts my treats. So that's kind of like my way of paying him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think like, in regards just thinking about it while you were sharing that, like looking within, um, I don't think it's necessarily a man thing, but it's you know, if you just my assumption, right? If and how I've always seen it, like I think every person has their purpose, right? So like
Mhm.
especially in a partnership, you have each party doing the best they can, but the best way they know how to. So like it doesn't need to be like the man needs to work and the woman needs to stay at home. But like even in those relationships where you have the stay at home dad and the working mom, it's like each party has their own purpose. And I think where it becomes a little questionable or where it could lead into something confrontational, let's say, is where the other person feels their purpose, like the only purpose they have, is not followed. It's like, so let's say you and Dwayne have that, like he used to get the cat food and he doesn't want you to pay. And that was the conversation. If you were to get it, even if you were being nice about it, it may feel like that was the one thing that he wanted to do and he couldn't do it. Um,
Yeah.
so in that case, like, yeah, I understand where the confrontation, the disagreement, let's say, could show up because it's just like that's it from my point of view. That I really felt like this was something I wanted to do. Like when Rebecca
Mhm.
and I go for dinner, we already set it before. Like if it's something I want to do, then it's my treat. And if Rebecca honestly later on chooses or wants to like pay half or like get ice cream later on, that is something I'm going to welcome and receive open hearted. But then if we're there at dinner and she's like, babe, I paid the bill and you were so nice, you brought me here, but I paid the bill. I'm gonna take it in a way where I'm like, oh, okay, but I would still be a little off because I just feel like that was taken away.
Ah,
So yeah,
interesting.
it's interesting, but it's not
Yeah.
like that. Like that was where we had to really be intentional. Oh, that's another thing, intentionality. We had to be really intentional where it doesn't make sense to fuel into, I know you did this deliberately to make things worse for me, or the other person takes it like I'm not grateful. It was
Yeah.
just communication where we're like, I just want to be heard that what I wanted to contribute in, I couldn't. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when Dwayne and I go to eat out, we take turns. So, like, he'll pay for a meal. Let's say Saturday we go out, he'll pay for the lunch. And then let's say Sunday we go out, then I will pay for lunch or whatever it is. And then if we forget whose turn it is, we just, decide who's going to pay and then go on from there.
yeah, Yeah, of course the conversations and everything become like better later on, but like it was just it, it was an unnecessary fight. But again, like while it was happening, it was just so real,
Hmm.
and all these fears showed up. So it was kind of beautiful in a weird way where we were able to highlight the fear and highlight it, and both of us just looked at ourselves and were like, okay, we are really operating from fear now, and that's not the versions we want to be.
Hmm. So maybe
Yeah.
in that sense, it wasn't unnecessary because you guys learned from it.
Yeah. I mean, we both did acknowledge we don't want to be having these kind of misunderstandings because,
Mhm.
like, it's great that we acknowledge the fear and then we move from it. But then if another fear shows up, we're not fully stepping into our power if we allow the fear to go. So, what we're doing now is we're realizing how much of the fear takes over us.
Yeah.
And then once it gets to that point, we're like, okay, slow down and like let's step back, like let's grab a hold of this. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think your relationship and your partnership with Dwayne is way more advanced in the sense that you guys
Wow.
have built more
We've
together,
been
right?
together a long time, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like 17 years. So yeah,
Wow.
we've had a
Yeah.
lot of
Okay.
practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll come with time.
It's all come with time.
Yes.
Anyway, anything else for you, Hazel?
Um, no, I am complete.
I am complete too. Uh, Next week, I think I have my schedule here. I think next week. Yeah, next week I can be on the call, but it might be a little bit later. So we'll check in
Okay.
and see if it works for everyone, or else we'll just keep you guys posted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your weekend, Hazel.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.